This is the hilarious star of the long-running television comedy series, The Beverly Hillbillies, Nancy Culp. I'm taking a bikini to Palm Springs. Is that faster than a train? Nancy Culp was never a typical Hollywood star, music, with glamorous outfits or romantic scandals splashed across the headlines. Audiences remember her as the rigid spinster Jane Hathaway, but few knew that behind that facade lay a sharp intellect, music, and a gritty past. Her final monologue stripped away a heartbreaking truth about loneliness and music, irreparable riffs right on the film set. This video will dive deep into the journey from a naval officer to the never-before-older's music behind Nancy Culp's lens. Nancy Culp entered the 1984 political music race with an ironclad belief that her screen fame would be the perfect launch pad to serve her home state of Pennsylvania. She ran for the U.S. House of Representatives as a Democratic candidate, carrying the hope of changing the system with music, the mindset of an intellectual who had served in the military. As the campaign reached its final stretch, a devastating attack emerged from the place she leased. Music, expected. The very set of the classic television series, The Beverly Hillbillies. Very good, Jethro. We will continue your homework with great leaders in history. You may begin. A is for Alexander the Great. He was named
Granny.
Mr. Darrell has something very important to discuss with you. Well, can he wait till after the parade? Yeah. We don't want to miss a possum juggler. The person behind this backstab was none other than Buddy Epson, who played Jed Clampett, the kind-hearted music, father figure, and pillar of the Clampett family whom Nancy Culp had worked with for 9 long years. Well, I reckon you youngins were smart music enough to see right through Granny's business about the Pasadena berry. Sure, Paul.
Heck yeah.
I'm good. What did you say? Your daughter, Ellie. She's getting married.
When?
Don't know exactly. Epson snorts, held strong conservative views, and could not accept his music, former colleague representing liberal values. He proactively contacted Culp's opponent, Bud Schuster, to record a campaign advertisement that shocked public opinion at the time. In the widely broadcast recording, the familiar voice of Old Man Jed rang out, but not to spread music warmth. Instead, it was to extinguish Culp's hopes. Epson declared, Nancy Culp is a virtuous woman, a good actress, but her views are far too liberal for us. I love Nancy, but I don't want her in Congress. According to the New York Times, Epson's action created a wave of astonishment because the public had always believed music, the cast of the Beverly Hillbillies, was a tight-knit family in real life. This shock left Nancy Culp completely devastated as she viewed it as a deep personal betrayal rather than a political difference. She responded directly to this attack with a bitter statement. He's not the music, kindly Jed Clampett you see on TV. Buddy should stay out of things that aren't his business, especially when he knows nothing about the issues of the people in Pennsylvania. Culp believed Epson exploited music, his beloved character's image, to manipulate voters and sabotage her serious efforts. The result of that election was a crushing defeat for Culp, and she always held Epson's interference responsible. This event exposed a harsh reality. Hollywood friendships are sometimes as thin as tissue paper when faced with ideological conflicts. She shared in a later confession, I never, music, felt truly respected on that set. They only saw me as a pawn to highlight the main stars. This feud lasted over half a decade, leading Culp to cut all contact with Epson and refused music to participate in cast reunions. The rift did not stop at a failed election. It sparked Culp's decision to remove her mask and publicize even music, darker secrets about the true nature of screen idols. Secret in Music, the deathbed interview. The 1984 political betrayal pushed Nancy Culp into a state of mental isolation where she began considering stripping away the masks Hollywood had forced her to wear for decades. The public always wondered about a smart, sharp woman, music, who accepted a single life after her short marriage to Charles Duss ended in 1966. Doubts about her personal identity were no longer distant rumors when she decided to have a frank conversation with writer Bose Hadley in Music, 1989. In the book titled Hollywood Lesbians, Nancy Culp made highly suggestive statements that strongly confirmed her sexual, music orientation. When asked why she never came out earlier, Culp chose music, an intellectual response, and insisted the interviewer quote her word for word. She proactively led the dialogue. "As long as you reproduce my reply word for word, I'd appreciate it if you'd let me phrase the question. Do you think that opposites, music, attract?" Immediately after, she provided the answer to her own question with a sharp bird metaphor. "My own reply would be that I'm the other sort. I find that birds of a feather flock together." That answers your question. This affirmation was considered an act of extraordinary courage in the late 80s, when social prejudice remained very harsh toward artists who did not belong to the majority. The Los Angeles Times noted that Nancy Culp was one of the few stars from the Golden Age who dared to face the truth about themselves, music, before closing their eyes for the last time. She admitted that keeping this secret throughout her time on the Beverly Hillbillies was a massive psychological burden. She shared sincerely, "I'm tired of pretending everything was wonderful when it simply wasn't. At music, my age, the truth is the only thing left of value." Nancy Culp also expressed regret over living in an era where an actor's career could be ruined solely because of personal choices and love. She confessed that the fear of being cast out forced her to hide within the shell of Jane Hathaway, a spinsterish, music, and eccentric woman. "Many people think I'm like Miss Jane in real life, but she is only a small fraction of the truth. A shield protecting the person I was not allowed to reveal," she confided in that fateful interview. These final monologues transformed Nancy Culp from a mere supporting actress, music, into a symbol of resilience and honesty. Behind that courage, however, her disciplined military past and music's solid intellectual foundation were what truly built the character of this woman. The forgotten intellectual dream. Before the world knew a Nancy Culp with the awkward mannerisms of Jane Hathaway, she was a woman possessing character and intelligence far beyond music, the usual Hollywood standards of the 50s. Born in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania on August 28, 1921, Culp grew up in a household that valued discipline with a father who was a federal revenue agent and a mother who was a teacher. This foundation nurtured a soul always hungry for knowledge, leading her to earn a master's degree from the University of Miami after completing a journalism degree at Florida State Music University. The biggest turning point in her life occurred when World War II broke out, an event that completely changed Culp's career trajectory. Instead of choosing a safe journalism path, she volunteered for Music, the U.S. Naval Reserve in 1944. There, she was not just a soldier. She successfully rose to the rank of lieutenant junior grade, a position requiring decisiveness, music, and leadership rarely seen in women of that time. The New York Times later emphasized in her biography that the iron discipline, music, and independent spirit from her military service shaped the confident, sometimes rigid, and incredibly sharp demeanor she displayed in her later roles. After leaving the service, Nancy Culp did not rush into the stage spotlight, music, but started in Hollywood as a staff member in the public relations department at MGM Studios. It was in this backstage environment that legendary director George Cukor spotted her unique look and distinctive voice. He persuaded her to try acting, and she made an impressive debut in The Model and The Marriage Broker in 1951. She quickly proved her talent through deep supporting roles in classic films like Shane 1953 and Sabrina 1954, where she worked music alongside icons like Audrey Hepburn and Humphrey Bogart. The intelligence and seriousness of a journalism master unintentionally became a barrier when she entered an entertainment world that favored glamorous looks over inner depth. Culp frequently expressed quiet frustration at being pigeonholed into purely comedic supporting roles. While she always craves scripts with higher political and social significance, she once shared in a film discussion, "They see me as a tool to create laughter, but they forget that behind that laughter is a mind always analyzing every aspect of music society." The contrast between a serious naval officer and the somewhat silly characters on screen created a long-lasting internal struggle. Nancy Culp, always music, felt like a stranger in the very industry she served, an intellectual trapped between superficial glitz. She never viewed acting as the final destination, but rather as a means to observe and understand human life in the manner of an investigative music journalist. This solid educational and military background, music, ensured she never accepted compromise in the face of injustice on set. When facing the arrogance of male stars or the disrespect from production, Culp always maintained a calm, steadfast attitude, a weapon she had forged during her years serving the nation. She did not need the applause of the crowd to validate her worth because she knew exactly who she was and what she was capable of achieving. This independence and character were the reasons she felt incredibly out of place. Music, in an environment where respect was often reserved only for those whose names were at the top of the billboards. This explains why she always kept a certain distance from the scandals of the entertainment world and spent music, her free time on academic research. That heroic past and forgotten intellectual dream set the stage for the uncompromising battles music would face on the most successful film set of her career. The war against mediocrity music on the film set. When entering the Beverly Hillbillies project in 1962, Nancy Culp could music not have foreseen that the role of Jane Hathaway would be both the pinnacle of her career and the source of grievances, music lasting nearly a decade. In the heart of a highly educated woman with the mindset of an officer, music, the work environment of sitcom sets back then frequently revealed superficiality and discrimination. She once described this space as a place where intelligence sometimes became a thorn in the side of those in power. The relationship between her and Buddy Epson music did not just stop at later political differences. It began to crack from the very first days of filming due to opposing lifestyles. Culp shared that Epson always demanded absolute music adoration from his co-stars and loved being reminded that he was the most important star of the show. She remarked frankly in an interview with the Los Angeles Times. He liked the feeling of dominance, and music wanted everyone around to revolve around his ego. For someone who values equality and competence like me, that was music hard to accept. The mediocrity Culp referred to lay not only in her colleagues' personality, but also in the way producers pigeonholed her into cheap comedic situations based on her character's eccentricity. She felt tired of having to constantly play Miss Jane Hathaway chasing men who ignored her, a motif she felt devalued women's dignity. Culp confided, "I spent 9 years of my life playing a rejected spinster, while in real life, I had ideals and visions much greater than that. It was an emotional drain." Throughout the filming process, she frequently tried to bring sharp and intellectual traits to the Jane Hathaway character to lessen the script's silliness. But this effort was not always welcomed. She felt she was tolerated rather than respected. Nancy Culp music called it a silent war against Hollywood's superficiality, where fame was often prioritized over personal character values. This feeling of being isolated and undervalued caused her to gradually withdraw from the cast's collective activities after work hours. While other actors tried to build the image of a happy Clampett family for the public, Culp chose to return to her books and personal projects. She admitted, "I couldn't pretend to participate in a happy play knowing the truth behind it involved massive egos and a lack of compassion." This war against mediocrity finally pushed Nancy Culp to decide to give up the bright glory to find a new path where she hoped her voice would have true weight. Her steadfastness, and self-respect created an unbridgeable gap with an entertainment world full of compromises. Just when she thought she had found freedom, fate brought a challenge more cruel than ever. Late life tragedy. In the years after deciding to leave the harsh spotlight of Hollywood, Nancy Culp found a rare peace as a drama teacher at Juniata College in her home state of Pennsylvania. This was a time when she could live true to her intellectual nature. Passing on analytical thinking and love for the craft to the younger generation without the pressure of mediocre scripts. This silence did not last long when fate dealt a fatal blow in 1990. She was diagnosed with squamous cell carcinoma, a cancer originating in the cheek. A painful irony for a woman who had spent her life using her face and distinctive voice to contribute to television art. Instead of choosing to appear in newspapers to seek pity or conduct massive fundraising campaigns, Culp chose a quiet exit. She retreated to Palm Desert, California, a dry but peaceful land to face her final days in absolute privacy. In the final weeks of her life, as her body was exhausted from the tumor's metastasis. A surprise event disrupted her already tired mind. Buddy Epson, the colleague who had caused the deepest heartache through the political scandal 6 years earlier, tried to find music way to contact her. According to authenticated records from her family and reputable Hollywood archives, Epson sent a desperate music message pleading for forgiveness through his daughter. He admitted his late regret for music, the personal attack directed at her during the 1984 election, and wished to mend the rifts before death knocked at the door. The Los Angeles Times in a later article recounted that moving context, emphasizing that although the conflict between them was once the center of music, Hollywood's division, death forced even the greatest egos to bow. Nancy Culp, the woman famous for music, her toughness, high self-respect, and uncompromising military mindset, finally accepted music, this apology. She sent a signal of reconciliation in a physical state, too weak to perform a face-to-face meeting or long dialogue. This forgiveness was not necessarily a complete erasure of past pain, but an act of liberation for her own soul before moving to the next world. She passed away on February 3, 1991 at her home at the age of 69, taking with her secrets and a peace exchanged music for many tears and much loneliness. Her departure was not marked by grand televised music, funerals, or the hollow eulogies of those who had once looked down on her on the set. Music, instead, it signified the quiet conclusion of a solitary, incredibly proud journey. The life of an intellectual woman who remained music fundamentally misplaced in a superficial entertainment world that rarely understood her true value. The legacy she left for posterity is not just thousands of music feet of film of the classic Jane Hathaway, but also shocking interviews recorded beforehand. Monologues stripping away the truth about her, music, personal identity, and the dark corners behind the lens that she had promised to reveal when the time came. Nancy Culp passed away music, exactly as she had lived her whole life, independent, frank, and never letting music anyone define her worth for her. After her death, her ashes were returned for burial at Westminster Cemetery in Music, Pennsylvania, closing a life cycle full of the paradoxes of a naval officer, a journalism master, and a talented actress. What we suspected about her for decades, from riffs on the set to hidden personal secrets, was finally fully music confirmed. It was not the result of cheap rumors, but the result of a final manifesto from a soul that bravely stripped music away every mask to live with the naked truth. The story of Nancy Culp remains a bitter reminder of the price of honesty and self-respect in a world that always demands compromise. She is gone, but her voice still echoes as a testament to the power of daring to face oneself, music, even in the final moments of breath. Nancy Culp lived a life full of paradoxes. A naval officer playing a music, clumsy secretary, an intellectual trapped in light comedies, and a strong woman who had to hide her true identity for decades. Her final monologues were not complaints, but a steel-clad manifesto of truth, confirming everything we once suspected about the dark side behind Hollywood's glittering light. The legacy she left behind lies not only in old films, but also in the courage to look back at the past with a direct and unregretting gaze in her final moments. If you found these hidden corners of Nancy Culp's life and the truth behind these classic films, music, interesting, please press like and share the video so this story of self-respect can spread wider. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss the next journeys, music, in decoding historical mysteries and major figures. Your support is the motivation for us to continue creating deep and authentic content. Music, thank you for watching. Goodbye and see you in upcoming videos. Music.